So this is Julie Evans, our fabulous PA from David Ormerod Hearing Centres in Llandudno, who has just been on an adventure of a lifetime. So Julie, what did you do and where did you go?
Well, I was very lucky to be involved in a trip to the USA. My partner and about 5 of his friends are all 50 this year, so we decided to do the trip of a lifetime. And we flew into Nashville, Tennessee, from where we picked up Harley-Davidson bikes and then did a tour of the state, taking in Memphis, Savannah, Lynchburg, Chattanooga, and then the Smoky Mountains, and it was just fabulous.
So, how long have you been riding bikes for?
The holiday was 2 weeks, but we've been riding bikes since we were teenagers, basically.
And Harley-Davidson, they're obviously the sort of creme de la creme of biking, so...
They are in America. They are the coolest thing on the planet, and when you start those bikes up en masse, they sound like a herd of growling tigers. It is amazing to drive out of town in a posse. It's a bit star, really.
So have you ridden a Harley-Davidson before?
No, we've got a Kawasaki over here, and most of the guys have got Japanese bikes. So this was a complete change for all of us to drive Harley-Davidsons. They're much lower to ride. They're a completely different concept because they are a touring bike as opposed to a speed bike. So yeah, just a very different experience.
So from your own perspective, what was the highlight of the trip?
Wow, it's difficult because there were so many of them. Obviously we went to Graceland when we went to Memphis, which was fantastic. It was very poignant. The actual house, which everybody thinks is a massive place, is quite small. It was just the decor that was way out there. One room was completely covered in green shag pile carpet. But it was very poignant, so that was one of the highlights. But I think actually the main highlight was driving through rural Tennessee, seeing how real people live. I mean, it's rural, it's Bible Belt area, so nearly every other building is a church, whether it be Lutheran or Baptist or Seventh-day Adventist, and all of them have got sort of messages outside. And one of my favourite messages was, if you think it's hot here, you should wait till you get to hell. Because it was hot, it was about 102 degrees that day and about 80% humidity, so it was a warm drive, but the scenery was fantastic. Smoky Mountain roads with their bends and, you know, travelling by the side of creeks and rivers that people were sailing down was just amazing, absolutely amazing trip.
So how long have you wanted to do this trip, and did it sort of meet the expectations?
I think anybody who rides a bike dreams of doing an American trip. It's a bit Easy Rider, a bit a bit hogs. And so I think everybody who's ever ridden a bike would like to do this, and actually people who don't ride bikes actually think that it's also an opportunity of a lifetime. My father said he wants to come next time, and at which stage, when I'm 50, he'll be 76, and I think he's pretty determined.
Wow. So in terms of, we've talked about highlights, but I understand there was a wedding too.
There was a wedding, yes. Our good friends Chris and Sarah got married in Gatlinburg, where we had a wonderful lodge for the week. The day of the wedding, the ladies all went to a local salon, which was very much like Steel Magnolias and the Dolly Parton salon, and we had lovely ladies called Misty and Cindy, who had husbands called Chip and Rhett, doing our lovely nails and our pedicures and everything. So we did that in the morning, while the gentlemen were actually sorting out the lodge and decorating it in all the red, white and blue American regalia, which the bride and the groom knew nothing about. And then at 4 o'clock, the pastor, who was eccentric to say the least, whose name was the Right Reverend Willie Shampoo, turned up and then proceeded with the wedding organisation, and it was really lovely because we were on the balcony looking out over the Smoky Mountains. It was very simple. I sang for the bride and groom afterwards one of their favourite songs, to which I really struggled finishing, and we were all in tears at the end of it. After which we celebrated the couple with champagne and had nice cupcakes. And then we all got on the bikes in all our finery. The guys all had matching t-shirts on, the double-breasted mock t-shirts on, and all the ladies had long frocks on. And we all got on the bikes and went down into Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg on the bikes, where everybody, well, they were quite amazed really, because obviously we had the tin cans on the back of the bike and everything, and had a wonderful meal down in the town before coming back up to the cabin for a little bit of a party.
So was it like a sort of last minute sort of idea to get married the moment they heard about the trip, or had it been sort of pre-planned? Because I know it was a birthday event rather than...
No, Chris and Sarah had been very determined that the trip was mainly about the birthdays, but they saw it as an opportunity to do something for their wedding which was different. They didn't want a big wedding, they didn't want a lot of fuss, and so it fitted in very well with that, and they'd made all the arrangements previously, and it really was a very beautiful day for all of us, actually. Yeah. Really nice.
So it was a very sort of celebratory trip, really, wasn't it?
Wasn't it just? Yes, there was quite a lot of celebrating went on, actually.
And in terms of something that you felt that you missed out on and that you would like to do again next time you go?
I'd like to do it all again, if I'm honest, and I'd like to, I mean, not necessarily go to Tennessee, but I certainly would like to do some of the other road trips in America now. I mean, apparently the most fantastic road trip that you can do is down the Big Sur in California, right down the Californian coast, and I would really love to do that. However, the flight is really grim over to that side of the country, so the other opportunity that we're possibly looking at is doing New England, perhaps going into New York and then up the coast through New England up to Austin and through Martha's Vineyard and things like that.
How did you originally get into the whole biking scene? I know you said you were very young when you started.
My brother got into the biker scene very young, and I followed quickly, just as a pillion rider. As I say, all the guys, it seems to be one of the things that happens in our area. And then when I came back to Wales and met Nick, he reintroduced me to biking, and we have done biking holidays ever since. We go on the bike to Europe nearly every year for the last 5 years, and we'll keep on doing it, because I tell you what, it's a much better experience than anything I've had on a package holiday.
Amazing. Thanks so much for this interview.